Good evening, CTDW family. We are reporting live from our respective recording spots and have a bit of spout of new news. But before that, I hope you guys are doing great. I thank you if you have been listening to us, you have been logging on, hearing what we have to say, putting up with us, enjoying us, somewhere in between. Hopefully all of it and none of it at the same
Laughing at
time.
us.
Yes, that's okay as well. If you listen to our last commentary, there was one about almond milk that Jesus was questioning why humans are making milk out of almonds, which is
Give them cows.
I gave them cows and they put them in trees. Well, at least the Nephilim did anyway. That's on that same episode, by the way, which is very funny. Sorry, inside joke, guys. If you watched our last episode, you might have some.
I can get it. Cows and
ideas.
trees.
Yeah. Shell, how you doing?
That's t-shirt worthy. I am excellent. That's totally t-shirt worthy. Cows and trees.
It sure is. Yeah, it totally is, man.
We had to be there.
Yeah, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Go watch Viracochas in the Andes or whatever it is with the Blurry Bros, the Blurry Creatures podcast. Really good one to watch. Tim Alberino and the Blurry, as they are self-proclaimed Blurry Bros. I really like that title. That's cool.
I do too. They're great.
They are really good. Well, guys, we have kind of a treat for you today. We are doing something, introducing a new, I don't want to call it series, but maybe a new kind of addendum to our podcast, as we were just discussing. We were toying with some ideas and some phrases, and some of the stuff that we're working on is a little bit bigger than just in a week or two kind of pouring through information and then
you'd almost say it's megalithic.
That's right. And I had actually, if you're watching this podcast and you've already listened to the previous one, you'll know that I mentioned that we would be talking about megaliths this week, but we're going to try and put it off for just a bit. I think we're going to wait about a week or two to release that one because I'm going on vacation. I'll be out of town. I think Shelley will as well. So we're probably going to give you guys something else, which is what is part of what we're releasing today, what we're talking about. But before I get into that, don't you dare forget to subscribe. You better be subscribing on Spotify or wherever you find your podcasts. You can find us on Rumble currently. I am finishing up the rest of Rumble currently, uploading the entire catalog. So all we got left is the shorts, and then I'm going to start uploading everything else to YouTube. You can already find us on YouTube, but we just don't have the full catalog there yet. Hopefully by the time you listen to this, it will be there. So go and check it out and see it there if you prefer to listen on that platform. Rumble is always best, not necessarily for us. I mean, I could care less where you listen to us. We just want you guys to hear what we have to say. Right. But I think it's better for freedom in general. If you guys would like to give, Patreon is available. Patreon.com/thectdw. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can find us on TikTok. That is at our handle on all of those is at the CTDW, with the exception of Facebook, I think, which is the Christian Theological Dark Web, which I'm sure you know. And of course, the email, the Christian Theological Dark Web at gmail.com. The Christian Theological Dark Web at gmail.com. Feel free to send us your comments. That's right. Feel free to send us your comments, ideas, so on and so forth, etc., etc., etc. So, without further ado, I would like to present you guys, or I will let Shelley do it. We just, minutes before, it's breaking news, we've decided on what we're going to call this series type that we'll be releasing. And these are a little bit shorter. They're not going to be nearly as long and lengthy as what we've been talking about. A lot of that stuff requires lots of time and listening and thinking and reflecting. And man, I was super blessed in my heart. One of my buddies texted me, or he sent a message to me on one of my shorts and said, "Hey man, I've been listening to it and I'm taking notes." And I was like, wow, that's very, very cool.
I had to rewind it to take notes. It was like,
almost cried. That's a big deal to us. I think that, I don't know about Shell, but I often feel like, what am I going to talk about? But like, I know that for a lot of people, these topics aren't things that they are thinking about. Like,
at
and
all.
so I forget because I think about it all the time that that's, the case. So Shell, I think that you would, it'd be nice for if I let you talk. That would be nice instead of me talking the whole time. What is the name of this new? I guess we'll just call it a series. I can't think of any other thing.
These episodes that we'll do on the weekly, we are calling CosmoVision.
CosmoVision.
This just if you break it down, you'll get the gist of what we're doing. We are bringing you our understanding of the cosmos. Um, so what we're doing is taking current events, things
Yeah.
that you may have seen this week on YouTube. We did.
Mm-hmm.
And running a little bit of a commentary, giving you how we see it through the lens of Christianity.
Yeah.
Because Ricky made a very good observation. We most of the time I don't think we know what we believe as modern Christians. There's so much that is lost literally in translation into English between and the Bible being rendered from the Greek or the Aramaic into Latin, and then from Latin into English with the King James version of the Bible in particular, taking it into the layman, the Breeches Bible at the same time. There were a couple others as well, all with the advent of the printing press. I mean, I'm sure y'all have an understanding of this from history. I don't know. You know what? I learned this really
Short version.
from private school, Christian school. So maybe this isn't something that everybody knows. But when we, humanity is who I mean by we, figured out a printing
Humans.
press. Yeah, humans. Um, the Bible was, of course, one of the first things that they wanted to produce en masse. Why?
I think it
It
was one
kind
of
of
the
makes
first
sense.
like actual
Oh yeah,
works, right? Yeah.
yeah. I believe it was the Breeches Bible. I could be wrong. I'm a little bit rusty in this particular aspect of history. It's been a little while since I've learned it, like 30 years. Um, but it, context, context is definitely lost. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so much of what we think we understand about the Bible, um, contextually is meant to be very different than how we understand it
Mm-hmm.
as
Mm-hmm.
Americans, as
Yeah.
Westerners. Um, but then because we're a little bit skewed in how we understand things, then when something comes along in the news, we're confused there too. Ooh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is this an okay thing? Was this prophesied? Was it not? Is this the mark of the beast? you know? And so, well, really, we're not going into anything that is that biblical tonight. Um, what
Well,
we're going to
sort
talk
of.
about, I mean, is the metasphere.
Mm-hmm.
The
The
metasphere.
metasphere and kind of well, yeah, the metasphere and what that kind of entails with regard to reality, right? Like what aspects are reflective, what aspects are counterfeit, what's happening, like what is going on in our world. Like, if you didn't notice, people are insane right now. They don't know who or what they are. They're not sure if they have a gender, if the gender is fluid with them or is going to change in 5 minutes, or if they paint their nails, they're going to be a woman. I mean, that's where we're at. People literally don't know what they are,
Right.
and
The truth
um,
is up for grabs.
yeah, that's a good way to put it. The truth is up for grabs. Um, that being said, we wanted to provide you guys. I don't want to say provide, but we wanted to continue to put out meaningful information and meaningful content that really will help you guys think as we think through these things ourselves as well, because the speed of things is going so fast now that
Mm-hmm.
even though we can't keep up with everything, and we should be taking our times to be silent and still and slow down, we do need to be aware of what's happening in the busy culture as
Right.
well.
We can't
Um,
bury our head under the sand.
we would suffocate.
And we also need to not be so preoccupied with the minutia of life that we miss
Sure,
important things.
sure. And that's, when we start thinking, the reason that we wanted to do this is because we do want to talk about what we're talking about. I mean, like we said, megalithic structures is something we're going to be talking about soon, and it's a super cool subject, and it will
Mm-hmm.
blow your mind. It's blown my
Mm-hmm.
mind on a continual basis. So we will be talking about that kind of stuff, and it has to do with the past, which affects our current and future, right? So that's why we talk about these things, because they are all certainly prophetic. When we come right down to it, everything God has done is prophetic. So it's kind of hard to avoid it, and that topic is super cool. But Shelley and I recognize that there is kind of a burning, and I want to say also burgeoning, need and desire to talk about current things that are happening, why they're relationary to things that have already happened. And my goodness, what we're going to talk about today, geez, man, when Solomon said that there's nothing new under the sun, in the past year, it has taken on a whole new meaning for me. So, whew, wow. That being said, this is CosmoVision, which actually um,
We
came to
need to have
mind
some
because
funky letters.
in Spanish, the word for worldview is CosmoVision, which apparently is also a word in English.
Yeah, it means the same thing. It
Yeah,
means
same
worldview.
thing.
There's even a German rendition of it. I closed the page, so I can't tell you it off the top of my head. But
That's okay. We'll go with the Latin-based
CosmoVision,
language.
CosmoVision.
CosmoVision, that's right. So welcome to CosmoVision, guys, and we will be covering today we're going to have a video that is a little bit sped up for us. This is directly from YouTube, and I guess I'm going to go ahead and take it from here, Shell, and just kind of talk about
Yeah.
what this is. Shell and I are going to be providing some commentary around this video, and this video in particular is from a great podcast, which I
Mm-hmm.
highly, highly recommend if you're a thinker or you're not a thinker and you want to start thinking more about this stuff, called TimCast IRL. It's a
Oh,
wonderful, wonderful podcast. Tim Pool is the original founder, I guess, of TimCast IRL, and he has some other. I mean, he has a million things going on. He's a brilliant guy, brilliant kid. Not a
yeah, he is.
Christian, but he is very cool. He's willing to listen to any and everyone that's willing to talk to him, and he is, I would say, probably just a little bit left of center
Yeah.
in his political views, and religiously, he's kind of just up in the air. He's pretty agnostic, but he has a really great show, and we are drawing on that from that show today. The cast of characters from this particular episode that he recorded, which was last week. I can't remember the day, but he himself, it's Tudor Dixon, she was a candidate running for the governor in Michigan. Philip Labonte, who is the lead singer of All That Remains. Woo! I like All That Remains. He was in a lot of bands that I actually was like, oh, I didn't know that was him. Oh, that's him. Oh, cool. A lot of bands that I listened to growing up, honestly. And then there's a chick that you will also see named Taylor Silverman. She's a skateboarder and works at TimCast, I guess, or Tim Pool's
It's a
company, whatever
castle.
we're calling it.
Castle project.
Cast Castle, that's what it's called, right? Cast Castle Project. So I've just taken some clips, and they're all within context, and I've just kind of spliced them up so that we can kind of really dig into this. So we're going to really start actually from there. That's what we're going to start looking at and where we're going to be at. So without further
Into it.
ado, we're going to hack right into this bad boy. All right, let's see. All right, here we go. That's visible enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be, let's see, toggle full screen? Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, let's make it like that. Cool. All right, here we go.
The technology that we have, like we talked a little bit about fintech, the technology that we have available to us now, and the convenience that people have gotten used to, the ability to just use your phone to do stuff like that, they're going to make being in the digital gulag so convenient and so comfortable that it's going to be so alluring, and very few people are going to say, no, I don't want to be in the, inside. It's going to be something that is, I mean, I wonder if there will be anybody that would really choose to be outside of it other than people that are like old. There would be some millennials, maybe some Gen Xers that would say no, but anyone that hasn't been born yet, or anyone that's an infant or under 5 years old now, they will never have known life outside of it. And the idea of living like those old people, it'll be like the idea of living the Stone Age.
You with AI technology where it's at, with VR technology and the Neuralink chip and Metaverse stuff. Like, Metaverse, I think, is like crumbling apart, but digital worlds. No one's going to want to live in reality.
Yep.
You're gonna click the Neuralink into your chip, into your port on your neck. Your eyes roll back in your head. You enter this Matrix universe where you, as a god of your own reality, just say, generate me a world where I'm the dragon warrior and I'm going to save the princess. And then it just manifests right before your eyes and you say, I'm going to live here instead.
It's like Westworld.
So awful to me. I am the old people of which they speak.
I think there's a lot more of us old people than you think. So I just want to give a little bit of background context if I didn't really explain it very well. I tried to make sure that the clip fit and made sense, but they're essentially talking about being in the metaverse. And they're kind of mixing ideas about the Neuralink chip, which is one that goes in the brain and basically connects you. I mean, essentially, it'll turn everything into a hive mind. So everybody will be able to... If you
haven't heard about it, Elon's been talking about it for a couple of years. So this is definitely... Look up Elon Musk and Neuralink. You'll find it.
I'd be blown away if you hadn't heard anything about it at some point, even if it's just a smidget. But they're talking about kind of like the mix between Neuralink and the metaverse. Essentially, where we're going, we are creating a new digital universe. And the reason I kind of wanted to put a pause on it real quick, and feel free to jump in anywhere that you would like to. This in my mind is really a pale image of true freedom. It's a desperate. I feel like our culture's at a place where we don't have a religion, and so we are filling that space with anything we can. And I think that's where we're seeing this quite literally like cult-like practices of kind of the transgender movement. And that, as someone said, if you say you're pro-transgender, then it's almost like it's more of a political statement, a politically religious statement even, than anything else, versus the opposite, right? If you say, oh, well, no, I don't support those things. It's also a religious and political statement simultaneously. And in my mind, personally, I think that this is because all that stuff is mixed with transgenderism is a soft. Transgenderism is softcore transhumanism, and if you know what transhumanism is, it's essentially us being humans 1.0, 2.0 rather, leveling up, as it were. Changing our actual biophysical makeup.
Messing with our DNA.
Yeah, messing with our DNA, but also like it could be like adding pieces of hardware onto our body to make us more efficient. Tim actually mentioned one, Shell, a while back. He says that there's these, I think they're called haptic inserts that people put in their fingertips, and they're like magnets, and they're able to pick things up and move them. It's a cool idea. It's a terrible thing to do to your body. Your body was not made to have magnets in it. So there's that. Hey, what's up, guys? Like what you hear? Want to hear more? Well, then don't waste any more time. Head over to Patreon at patreon.com/thectdw to hear this full episode. It's only $5 a month to become an exclusive member with special access to all our full episodes. Please like, subscribe, and rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts. See you at the Christian Dark Web.
I mean, who thought back in the 70s, possibly into the 60s, when the Bionic woman and the $6 billion man, however much he costs, that we would come to body modification where you can plug your brain into a computer system and create a world that you can live in. Man, I just wonder if you wouldn't starve to death. Well, you know what I mean? You get hyper focused in it. I mean, so you're gonna hook up to a power protein shake IV, and I mean, but you know what? I mean, they'll figure that out, and that won't even be very difficult to enter the Matrix. I thought we were trying to red pill out of there.
Yeah, well, we were, and then people were allured by the idea of immortality, higher living, higher thinking, and less work. Actually, Phil,
this is the ultimate escapism. Ultimate escapism from reality.
And Phil really, he titled it, man, I'm gonna butcher it. I think I'm gonna get it wrong. He goes, luxury, fully equipped luxury communism, where people don't have to do anything at all. They have everything on a platter at the ready. They can sit, to make it, to use Tim's word, I think he actually says this, to sit in the pod, eat the bugs, and be in the metaverse. Like, that's
gross.
Yeah, I agree. It's gross.
Gross.
And the Christian commentary about this that I wanted to make was that, in my mind, this is grasping at straws, as though it were, but this is grasping at that interdimensionality that God had us at the beginning.
Right.
Creating this metaverse. Correct. Creating this metaverse is a substitute for what the Garden of Eden held. And the Garden of Eden, yes, you can think of it as a physical place. You can also think of it as a metaphorical place, but I think it's even more, I think it's more than that. I think it's a trans-dimensional place where
it was a metaphysical place.
Correct. We would convene regularly with God and with other of God's sons that were not of our own race even. And so I think that when Tim talks about, being the Lord Devon of, Count whatever, and being able to ride the dragon and rule over the army of the entire kingdom of such and such. I mean, that to me is just like a cheap counterfeit of what God told us. Take and subdue this earth. It's yours. Use it. Take it. So, anything else? You good? Should I continue?
No, I think so. Press play.
Cool.
Yeah. Yep, you get to live in your fantasy where you can do whatever you want. Why would anyone want to leave?
The worlds that people are going to create are going to be the most horrific monstrosity because there's no repercussions. You're gonna have the most insane, deviant, crazy, self-indulgent, monstrous. Like, it's going to be
we're 2 years away.
Because you can experience anything you want.
And if reality sucks, that's going to be more appealing to create.
Oh no, they're going to be worse because people are going to be like, oh, you mean I can chop bodies up and experience that and not have any kind of ramifications? It is dark.
It's called GTA.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that Grand Theft Auto as a video game has been so popular for several decades.
Everybody has gotten the then beaten her to death and taken the money back. Like, that was the joke in GTA.
Yeah,
we should have done a
hide your
content
family
warning there.
Kids.
Sorry, yeah, I did. I totally forgot about that. But I remember when Grand Theft Auto came out. My kids were teenagers. My oldest was a teenager, and I remember seeing that, and I was like, "You're not allowed to play that." Of course, they played it on the slide because everybody does want to do exactly that. They want to taste the forbidden and get away with it. So many people don't try on their murderous intent, not because we don't have murderous intent, we all do, but because we are afraid of the ramification. Maybe you don't really want to have to live with somebody dead, that you killed. B, you don't want to be punished for it because murder bad. But in this scenario, everybody is going to try those things because it's guilt-free. It's ramification-free, or so it seems at first glance. I don't think it'll remain. I don't think it'll remain in the metaverse. I think what happens in the metaverse is not going to stay in the metaverse. You're going to do it. You're going to find that you liked it. It was the biggest rush you ever had, killing that person, blah, 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 doing that thing.
Yeah.
And it's going to bleed over into reality.
Well, we're already watching that happen. I mean, when we have stuff like the Trans Day of Revenge, I mean, and that's, that's playing out in real life. Like, people are already doing this kind of stuff. They're literally taking guns and gunning down people that they dislike. And I'm not going to tell you stop playing video games, or I'm not saying any of that stuff. I'm just saying,
as
idle
the grandma
hands
in the
and idle
room, I don't
minds.
mind saying that.
Sure, I get it. I know, I get it, and I'm also not endorsing that you go do that. I mean,
we're recording.
You do what the Lord convicts you of, right? If the Lord tells you, "Hey, man, don't waste your time with that crap," don't waste your time with that crap. If you're
whatsoever
like, hey,
you know what he does? I think it's in Ephesians 4 or 8. Whatsoever things are pure, lovely, of good repute.
there you go.
So I hate to burst that bubble, but it's right there. That's right. These are the things. Think on such things.
And that's, well, and I guess what I'm saying, Shell, is that's a that's a line that you have to come to find peace and work out your own salvation about, because I mean, Shell and I were just talking about Game of Thrones the other day, and there's tons of, I mean, just sexually explicit stuff all over the place, and that's just regular TV. It's not even pornographic, quote unquote, right? Really, I mean, that stuff's all over the place, and most people don't think twice about it. They're like, well, it's just just boobs, or it's just this, or it's just, I mean, but I mean, let's be real, man. Like, what are you putting in your brain? What are you putting in your brain? And what Phil says, man, is I really like that guy. He thinks really deep about this kind of stuff. And frankly, I think that this, although this is my personal belief, and I think Shell and I probably share this idea, but I don't think that, in fact, I'm pretty sure that Shell and I share this idea. I don't think that the Antichrist is going to be human. I do not think that.
At least
they might
not
be
fully.
part human.
No, yeah,
exactly.
I think he's going to be trans.
Correct. Trans something. Sexual human, or whatever you want to call it. He's going to be he's going to be hybrid in nature. Let's just say that.
Definitely.
That's my personal view. And I'm not talking about in the cyclical aspect of Antichrist spirits or Antichrist actions and people that appear.
I'm talking about the Hitler. Man of lawlessness.
Yes, correct.
We are talking about the last one, the one that causes Jesus to come back and completely destroy him with fire from his mouth and a sword from his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Which is that kind of those particular topics. Actually, we're going to cover more in detail in our regular series, but that's definitely part of it. And I think because of that, I think, and I actually had this, I don't know if I told you this conversation at some point, but I believe that you've always heard that whenever you're in school and you're learning literature, that you're always supposed to analyze it from your own perspective, obviously taking into account the context of what's going on and so on and so forth. But the beauty of literature is that you can draw so much from it, right? And that's
Absolutely.
That's a God-breathed reality. So when the Word of God says that the hearts of men shall grow cold, I do believe that it's stuff like what Phil just said, like that you're going to chop
Oh,
up
yeah.
bodies and have no remorse and like desire it because you're going to sear your conscience and have no remorse for anything. But I also think that it literally means that the hearts of men will grow cold, like steel and rock, and fuse with other things that are non-human. I mean, I literally believe that those things can be simultaneously true. One, that men's love will grow cold and they will no longer love their brother, but the other, that they will literally grow cold and no longer be human in appearance or aspect. Sorry, Shelby, you were going to say something.
This also fits into men's hearts failing them for fear. Because our brain has a difficult time totally grasping that something in the virtual world is not reality.
Our kids are a reflection of that.
That line is so fine. I'm gonna date myself again with a Beavis and Butthead or Ren and Stimpy. Oh gosh, it's so awful. Cartoon references here that they had to put big disclaimers. Don't try these things. These are cartoons doing this. This is not
They didn't
reality.
want to get sued. Yeah.
Because people do stupid things. Tide Pod challenge right there. I mean, this is going to bleed over into the real world.
Oh yeah.
So fast into our reality, like super quick. And what's more is I believe that this is also going to be a major player in the great deception. The Bible doesn't tell us what the great deception is. It tells us there's going to be a great deception, and people are going to believe it. You know, you talk to a 21st century American and you say, so would you ever worship a talking 50-foot statue that can do miracles? And you know what every American says? No. What kind of idiot would? And you know what? What kind of idiot would? The one who no longer can tell virtual reality versus physical reality, when their realities are so skewed that you can no longer tell. And it's going to happen. And this is a tool. The Metaverse, the Neuralinks, they're a tool. They're not a tool I'm willing to have anything to do with because I see it as a very slippery slope.
Well, it's just like, I mean,
but
it's
I'm
just
not
like
the target audience either.
Sure.
I'm not the target audience, but my grandson probably is. My children are. Your children are.
And we need to start thinking in terms of technological groomers, because that's coming.
Lord.
It's coming. It's already here, actually. And
that's a horrendous thought. It's a victimless crime.
Yeah.
Nobody was touched.
I watched a video with Elon Musk a while back, and he was talking to a friend of his, I think that still works at Google and is working on AI. And they got into a kind of a conversation, and Elon told him, you know, for all Elon's weirdness, Elon does have a level head. He certainly does, because his
brain works. Oof.
Yeah, for sure. And he makes some wise decisions. And I would say sometimes even biblically wise decisions.
I would definitely call him an intelligent man.
Yeah.
He is an intelligent
and insightful.
Being.
Certainly insightful.
Yeah.
And one of the responses he made really blew my mind. Well, I guess not blew my mind so much, but rather what his friend said. His friend said, when Elon cautioned him, he says, hey, we need to make sure that this is safe for humans, and you know, this and that, and it's something we can control, and this and that. And he goes, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, Elon responded to his friend and says, well, you know, we don't want this to get out of hand or cause people to die, or, you know, we want to make sure that we can control this AI. And the guy goes, well, but that's like enslaving another race. And Elon goes, excuse me? Elon's like, yeah, but it's for the better of humanity. It's not for the better of, you know, and he goes, well, that's speciesist. And he goes, Elon, you're a speciesist then. And then Elon Musk goes, well, then I guess I'm a speciesist. So be it.
Right? Oh,
so-
my heart is hurt.
I wouldn't be surprised. And in fact, I'm calling it, and I've called it for the last few weeks thinking about it. We are going to stop seeing human rights, and we're going to start seeing sentient rights. That's what's going to start happening. The entire corpus of human, or I would say sentient law, is going to be rewritten. Because we're not going to be the only sentients anymore. And so everyone's going to have their sentient rights. And I'm not for sentient rights, just so we're clear. I am absolutely opposed to sentient rights. There's plenty of creatures that exist that have been sentient throughout the centuries, and I'm not for them having rights. I'm for human rights.
And I am human racist. I want what's best for the human race, not the angelic race, not the Nephilimic race, not extraterrestrial races. No,
not the transhumanist race.
No, not 2.0 either. I want them to remain human. You know what? Yeah, we're destructible and fallible, and we get tired, and things quit working, and it sucks. But I want to remain a human.